Matsalane Mamabolo, South Africa's most successful soccer writer.
You Pirates fans were looking for Rulani to come. You guys are unrealistic. Rulani Mukwena, Pirates.
3 times winner of Premiership Soccer Writer of the Year and 3 times winner of the Sports Writer of the Year. Every day he takes you inside SA Soccer, exclusive to omniaudio.africa. Weekdays, 9:30 a.m.
Break it down. Africa's premier sports destination.
It's today. South Africa against Rwanda, a World Cup qualifier at Mbombela. When you're a South African fan and you think Mbombela, the memories of those Itumele Nkune and company dancing, celebrating, thinking that qualified for the Africa Cup of Nations after playing against Sierra Leone come flooding back. We did not qualify because we had just misread the rules. The rule says if teams are equal, we go head to head. But we thought it was all about goal difference. We had a better goal difference and we prematurely celebrated. But that's all in the past. We are now going for a World Cup qualifier, a very difficult match really, because even if we win, we might just not qualify. Bafana Bafana's failure to beat Zimbabwe on Friday has put us on the back foot really, because Benin won their match and now they are leading the group, 2 points ahead of us. Going into that match, we were on equal points. They were just 1 goal difference better than us. But now they are ahead. They are playing against Nigeria in Nigeria. I hope that clearly is for them to lose so that we win. But it's when you watched what happened against Zimbabwe at the weekend, I don't know where your hope comes from, really, because Bafana Bafana were just, I'd say poor, really. They tried to play, Sipho Mbule played his heart out, but the rest of the team, it's, you didn't see where the goals were going to come from. And Coach Hugo Broos, we love him. He's done incredible things for South Africa. But I looked at the match and I'm thinking, Pepeles Tole had been out of the squad for so long due to injury. I didn't expect, I remember writing an article looking ahead to the matches, and I didn't expect him to play. I mean, the boy himself was just excited to be back in the squad, but to be in the starting lineup. And then Coach Hugo Broos takes him off. He also took off Mohaung Kota. I don't know why he did that, because Mohaung Kota, in the past matches, you've seen him. He's a midfielder, but he's a guy you can expect to steal a goal for you. The absence of Ikram Reyners clearly shows we are struggling. And I mean, my producer, my colleague Mdu Duzi Sibeko is with me here, and we were talking about this, Mdu, that who is it that South Africa has to score the goals? You've seen on social media and other media people. Just last week, actually, somebody at the press conference asked Coach Hugo Broos, why is a Bradley Grobler not in the squad? I, for one, know that Coach Hugo Broos does not believe in old players. Bradley Grobler is 37. He scores lots of goals for his club, yes, but Hugo Broos was never going to let that guy into his team. He's a very loyal coach. You see it. I mean, the way he brought in, like I said, Pepelo, he brings him in and immediately he plays him. He's that kind of coach. And evidence Mahopa continuously in his squad because he likes him. But are these the players that can deliver for South Africa? Clearly not, because they are not. But are we going to have people to score the goals? I mean, I don't know what your thinking is, but you've watched these matches. Can South Africa win? And who is going to score the goals for us?
Hey, but Jakes, my biggest concern is that both strikers that we have in the Bafana Bafana team right now only have 1 goal domestically this season each. And worse evidence, Mahopa has only scored a penalty. Lyle Foster has 1 goal in the EPL across all competitions. So it's concerning to have these guys because clearly they don't know how to score goals. They may be good strikers, but strikers that don't know how to score goals. So you look at our wings, you now depend on an Ozwena policy, you depend on an Mhamkota to score goals, but if they don't score, then who scores? So my concern is that we might be going for another draw against Rwanda, another goalless draw. If we win, we might win 1-0, and then now we desperately need Nigeria to win against Benin. So it's a very challenging one, and I'm really disappointed in Hugo Broos and how he called this team. You look at how, for me, it was immature to call Tsapang Moremi to the squad right now, whereas he's only gotten his form recently for Orlando Pirates. It's only been 3 games where he's been playing well, but you have someone like Eletso Makaula who's been performing exceptionally since last season, even beginning of the season. He's the one that's been supplying Bradley Grobler, so you need a creative player like that because Sipombule clearly can't do it all on his own. So I'm really disappointed in the squad. I was also disappointed in the substitutes. But to see Obas coming on for Spepelo's toilets, having another Tebogo Mokoena on the field. Like there's a reason why they don't play them both at the same time at Mamelodi Sundowns. So he brings on Batusi Obas, he plays with Mokoena, and now you have players who do the exact same thing. So instead of attacking, we're becoming more defensive and we're playing more on the wing, and there's no one creating those diagonal passes to reach Lyle Foster himself. So it's really concerning.
I mean, you speak of that midfield. You'll remember early on, Thalente Mbatha playing for Coach Hugo Broos, producing goals from outside. He's in the squad. He didn't play him. In a match like the one we played against Zimbabwe, you needed goal scorers. Coach Hugo Broos has his way of playing, but sometimes against a team that has nothing to play for, why don't you play with 3 strikers? You don't have goal poachers. We speak about Bradley Grobler, and I can bet you now he's not going to bring him in. It's too late anyway. But there's been Echeofajo Mabasa, for example, a guy who proven goal scorer in South African football, but clearly Coach Hugo doesn't like him. Now, we are saying this, and as they say, hindsight is the greatest teacher. Building up to the match against Zimbabwe, there wasn't really an outcry about, do we really have strikers? None of us were thinking we don't have, because the team had been winning. But as you say, when you look back and you look at how we've qualified, the goals were coming from different people. Mohau Nkota chips in, Thalente Mbatha, everybody chips in. But now this is crunch time. We are playing Rwanda tonight. How does Coach Hugo Broos, who does he play? You look at the squad that he has. We need the goals. Who does he look at? Because we are talking about players who are not there. Bradley Grobler is not part of the squad. Where now would you say he should go for there?
Unfortunately, because we're stuck with the squad that we have currently, I think it's best to start Evidence Mahopa. He might not be a goal scorer, but at least he's a striker that knows how to at least create a goal.
Yeah,
he might find Mhankota. They played together. He plays with Ozuna Policy. He also plays with Sipombule. So at least we're safe in that regard where attack is concerned. These are guys that play together at club level. So they might be able to create something. And then I also think this time he needs to play Tebogo Mokoena with Thalente Mbatha, because at least if these strikers can't score, or the midfields that we depend on to score goals, Thalente Mbatha can shoot from range and try something. Tebogo Mokoena is not the kind of guy that can really score from range. He knows how to score from range, but he hardly scores because he has a very strong foot. So sometimes when he tries to take a shot from outside the box, it goes above because he has a strong foot. So if Tebogo Mokoena is not in the game, at least you know Thalente Mbatha can do something for you. And then in defense, I saw he replaced Bekezeli Mbogazi with Thabo Mloisane. So I just think Thabo Mloisane needs to start.
Yeah, I
Thabo
mean,
Mloisane definitely needs to.
And he's been there. He's a guy we can rely on. Look, I honestly don't think we should be too stressed about defense. My view is Rwanda is not the kind of team that's going to trouble us. Yeah. We need to stand by authority on this match from the onset. Go at them. Show them that this is who we are. You have come to our home. I suspect that the stadium will be packed. Rwanda, we lost 2-0 to them. They'll come here thinking they can win. I think they're essentially out of it. I don't see them being one of the qualifiers, not even number 2. So we are playing against a team that literally will be playing for pride. After they lost to Rwanda, to Benin on Friday, they are out of it. We have to. Even if we were to say lose on qualification, but we have to win this match. I'm saying we are going to Mbombela where it's a dance of shame. We need to erase the memory of the dance of shame. But should we not qualify, and I know South Africans will want to kill me for saying that, how are we going to look back at the reign of Hugo Broos? A lot of people, we've all been excited by what he has done for South Africa over the years. He took us to the Nations Cup. We got our first medal in many, many years. We are close to qualifying for the World Cup, but we've already qualified for the other Nations Cup. Based on his time here, surely we can say this man was successful, but it will probably count for nothing if we don't qualify for the World Cup.
I think he's going to go down as one of the best coaches South Africa's ever had. He's achieved a lot. He's a bronze medalist in the AFCON. He's this close to qualifying. He's qualified for another AFCON. So he's qualified for 2 AFCONs. And we're obviously expecting him to do well at the AFCON again. And I think the only issue that I had with Hugo Broos sometimes was his ego. And he positioned himself as a very fair coach that calls up players on merit, and that's very strict on discipline. But we remember there was a time when Tebogo Mokoena wasn't getting enough game time at Mamelodi Sundowns, but he called him up. Now that Fawaz Basadine and Jaden Adams are not getting enough game time, he didn't call them up, but he did it with Tebogo Mokoena. So now you question his fairness. And sometimes I think there are moments where he struggled reading the games, especially when Bafana Bafana played against Nigeria. For me, that was the deciding game. But he kept Mhaonkota on for too long in that game, and he could see at some point that Mhaonkota was tired. He had the pacey Sibelebele on the bench who could have came on for Mhaonkota. And he also had Relebohile Mofokeng who could have came on for Ozonapolis, but he kept them on the bench and kept these two going, even though he could see that they've ran enough. They were tired, they were exhausted. So sometimes the reading of the game, Yamhlula, sometimes you look at how he plays Batusi Obas and Tebogo Mokoena at the same time, and then sometimes the inconsistency of how he calls up his players. Sometimes it's important that you have a consistent squad playing at national level, even though a player is not getting enough game time, but you know what he can do for you. Khuliso Mudaus recently played for Mamelodi Sundowns, and boom, he's back in the national team. But you look at Fawaz Basadine, who we needed a Fawaz Basadine. Jaden Adams, there's a lot that he could have contributed in that midfield. Personally, I think he's better than Batusi Obas and Thalente Mbatha. So I still think he could have called up Jaden Adams, especially because Hugo Broos believes in young players. And then you also look at this Bradley Grobler situation. Yeah, there was a point where he almost didn't feature Themba Zwane for the AFCON, and then Themba Zwane did well, and then he became his favorite. So if he could have done that for Themba Zwane, he could have came back and looked and said, look, we call someone like Bradley Grobler. Imagine what he could teach Evidence Makgopa. Imagine what he could teach Lyle Foster, even though Lyle Foster's plays at a better league than him. So he just needed Bradley also for his leadership. Sometimes you don't call an old player because you depend on them fully. You just call them on for their experience, their leadership, and their ability. Allow Bradley Grobler to lead your attack, and we could have scored like 3 or 4 goals against Zimbabwe, especially because the goalkeeper at Zimbabwe is a player that is a keeper that plays in the PSL. Bradley Grobler knows him. He also knows Bradley Grobler. So he's going to go down as one of the best coaches, but technically, I think he struggled a bit, and because of his arrogance and him thinking, no, I know best, that's where he would have failed the nation.
I mean, you say that, and I'm sitting here thinking, Coach Hugo Broos does not work alone. He has a Hellman sitting there with him. Do you think Hellman makes the coach aware of such things? To say, listen, brah, we need to qualify. Look, I mean, I think one of the things that we are looking at it as, we have a Bradley Grobler who's scoring. You as a coach came here and you reward form. You call people by form. We are where we are in a way because Ikram Reyners pulled out. I feel that had Ikram Reyners been present, we probably would have done better. He calls Evidence Makgopa as a replacement because he trusts him, he likes him. But as you say, Evidence is not a scorer. He's those players who will help create opportunities for your teammates so that they score. But today, it's not about that. Today, we have to score. And I feel what Sipho Mbule was trying to do, you saw him, the boy was hungry, he wanted. I felt that we lacked that with the other players. There wasn't that, guys, this is do or die. I didn't feel that with the team. Do you think, I mean, could it have been nerves? The players, you don't want to do wrong, but you want to win. Because that, I felt, was what was lacking against Zimbabwe.
I think, Jakes, it's a question of complacency. Tebogo Mokoena has become complacent because he knows he has no competition. Whether he gets game time or not, he can come back from an injury, and Bafana Bafana playing, he knows they're going to play him. They fielded him when he was ineligible. So that speaks to how relaxed he is in that position.
That was a mistake.
You look at also, you go to in defense, Khuliso Mudau knows he's guaranteed that position. No matter what happens. The only time he won't play is if he has he has like issues with his team.
Yeah.
But other than that, he knows he's going to the World Cup. He knows he's going to the AFCON. He knows anytime Bafana Bafana play, he's going to get the call up. Obrum Mudiba himself. So Sipho Mbule has a point to prove. This is a player that's been rejected, a player that people have given up on. Orlando Pirates gives him an opportunity and he's grabbing it with both hands and he's saying, I am that guy. Mohaun Kota is hungry. The reason he's now overseas is because of how hungry he is, and he also has a point to prove. Also, Napolis is playing with a lot of hunger. I think the boy just wants to go overseas, given how he's been performing and how he's been playing. So with these other guys, especially the Sundowns players, I don't mean to sound biased, but a lot of these Sundowns players know they're guaranteed a position in that Bafana Bafana squad.
Yeah,
so
and it's
Hugo Broos also, Hugo Broos has also fed them the mindset that, look, whatever happens, you hear. But Jaden Adams is less favored. Call him now where he's getting less game time. He wants to prove himself. He has a lot to gain from playing at that level, because if Mamelodi Sundowns don't have plans for him, there's a team outside of Africa that's going to scout him. So you call those kinds of players. Bradley Grobler has never played for a big team. He has a lot to prove right now, and he's hungry. And I think he desperately wants to break Shalulile's record, because he wants a South African striker to hold that record. So call players that are hungry and players that desperately want to win, not players who are complacent, who know they already have the position. Especially
for as big an event as this is, we want to go to the World Cup. Hugo Broos wants to go to the World Cup. He's played at the World Cup and he said it. But I think you're right. I think a lot of times coaches, there's loyalty. Every coach has. You remember just how he's that kind of guy. You look at it. There was years where Nico Mubi could do no wrong. We all complained about what does he see in Nico Mubi. But the challenge now is it could come back to bite him, and it bites us as a country, because if we miss out on the World Cup, when we know, you talk about Bradley Grobler, and sometimes I feel for national team, we go with what is working. Yes, you keep your core, your ever, but for a country that needs to qualify, you have a Bradley Grobler who's banging them in, a Keletso Maghalwa who creates for him. There's a synergy between these two. Call them up, use them, but as I say, it's almost crying over spilled milk, because it's not happening. Your prediction? I for one believe we will beat Rwanda. By how much? That's the question. And I think we need to score and score and score, because we don't know what's going to happen out in Nigeria. We're hoping that Nigeria beat Benin, and if they don't and they draw, we have to score as many goals, because I think Benin will believe that a draw will be good enough for them. They'll go there and try to get a point from Nigeria, which means they have an unassailable lead. We can only equal their lead, their points, but we have to score the goals. Can we do it? Do you think? How does Hugo Broos get it into these players' heads that, boys, this is almost your last opportunity for quite a few of them, because if you miss out on qualifying for this World Cup, 4 years down the line, there'll be new players coming through.
Bench Lyle Foster start Makgopa. I think Bafana Bafana can win 2-1.
You start Makgopa with who?
I start Makgopa with Mohaun Kota, Ozonapolis, Sipho Mbule. They play together, they know each other, they understand each other. Start that attacking four. In midfield, Thalente Mbatha, Tebogo Mokoena, and then defense, like you said, it's not really concerning, because we have depth in defense. Right back, obviously Khuliso Mudau. Left back, Obri Mutiba. Center back, Nkosinathi Sibisi, Thabo Moloisane, or Khulumani Ndamane. Yeah, I think Bafana 2-1.
Okay, let's see. I think we should win 3-0. I know the goals just are not coming; they are drying up. But I feel this is the kind of match where the nation is going to push our team. The stadium is probably going to be packed, and we should win. And I'm going 3-0 win South Africa. Let's see how it goes. The match is later on tonight, and we will be watching. And later on, we will review. Perhaps I hope I'm not going to be eating humble pie, and won't be. We will be celebrating South Africa's qualification for the World Cup, because I believe Nigeria will beat Benin in Nigeria. And that's it. Let's meet again the next show.